sick.
There is no terrible way to win. There is only winning.
We won't be out long.
Take your time. Track's all yours.
You ready? The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready. Hit it. Attaboy.
Let me drive. I won't make a fool out of you.
I got a message for all of them. Shake and bake.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
That just happened.
These cars, you sit in a box, a coffin, gasoline all around you. It is like being inside a bomb.
It's tough enough being a girl on the track. Living in my dad's shadow doesn't help much.
You have to be kind to the car. You feel the poor thing groaning underneath you.
No race was ever won in the first corner.
I'm gonna give you an engine low to the ground, extra big oil pan that'll cut the wind from underneath you. That'll give you 30 to 40 more horsepower.
Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You do it because you're driven.
Brakes are warm. Tires are warm.
I'll work in the cars and I'll drive and I'll eat and sleep and I'll work in the cars and I'll drive.
Damn fast, and when we run so close together, it requires fantastic concentration and rather special skills.
I was beginning to think I'd never be anything more than a piston-happy lead-foot punk. Then this starts to happen.
If you're going to push a piece of machinery to the limit and expect it to hold together, you have to have some sense of where that limit is.
Besides, the best drivers don't dwell on the future or the past. The best drivers focus only on the present.
They could never have imagined it. Those pioneers who invented the automobile, that it would possess us like this in our imaginations, our dreams.
I'm gonna give you a fuel line that will hold an extra gallon of gas. I'm gonna shave half an inch off you and shape you like a bullet.
Somebody put it in your mind you gotta be perfect every time out or you're a failure. Well, forget that. Just forget it.
Racing is in my blood.
I was put on this earth to race cars.
I accept every time I get in my car. There's 20% chance I could die, and I can live with it, but not 1% more.
No, Nicky, don't bring the percentages into this. Don't be a pro. The minute you do that, you kill what's good about this. You kill the sport.
And at that speed, your reactions can barely keep up with these sudden changes in direction.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up?
You want me to work the pit and you drive? Fine, we'll try that.
The car's a living, breathing thing, and she's alive.
If any of us imagined, really imagined, what it would be like to go into a tree at 150 miles an hour, we would probably never get into the cars at all. None of us.
Are you ready to become a real race car driver?
I am just as good as anybody out there on that track, and I don't need anybody to win my races for me.
I wish my daddy were alive to see this, to feel this.
And when we get you primed, painted, and weighed, you'll be ready to go out on that racetrack. You hear me? You're gonna be perfect.
You don't understand what happens, do you? They make 10,000 cars, they make them exactly the same way, and one or two of them turn out to be something special. Nobody knows why.
When I won it was probably the last time I ever felt pure victory.
So it has always seemed to me that to do something very dangerous requires a certain absence of imagination.
Because I'm quicker than all of you.
Soon you will know what it is like to be defeated by the hands of somebody who is truly better than you.
The only thing to do here is to drive just as fast as you know how and hope your car doesn't break.
And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
If you ain't first, you're last. There's 40 other vultures out there who managed to finish the race on their tires. You see Darrell Waltrip using up his tires?
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
I mean, hell, isn't that what we're in this for? To stare death in the face and to cheat it? Come on, there's nobility in that. It's like being knights.
Sometimes you could swear the whole thing's falling to bits.
No pressure, nobody breathing down my back, just driving because I left it pure.
On the other hand, I suppose potential problems are in the back of your mind all the time.
So in many ways, I feel responsible for what happened. And
You were, but trust me, watching you win those races while I was fighting for my life, you were equally responsible for getting me back in the car.
You're so lucky. You sit there all closed in by machinery and bolts, precise things. There's hardly any room for you. It must be a nice, safe feeling.
You gotta learn to trust something. Might just as well be the seat of your pants.
A lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Well, we can drive. We can drive beyond the limits of the tires, the engine, the car, anything else.
Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes. Every gear change, every corner. Perfect. You see it.
I just hope when you do, that I'm there to see it.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But it isn't just business, is it?
what we do. It's passion, love, which is why we are prepared to risk our lives for it.
Racing. That's the name of the game, isn't it? Win or lose, put up or shut up.
Why does everybody keep telling me what my problem is?
That you get so emotional.
You would never, ever say that to a guy.
If you don't leave your feelings off the track, you're never going to get what you want.
I'm a race driver, and I can win it on my own. Please let me race.
Fine. Then let's race.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and we are here for the return of the Grand Prix World Series. We are ready for Season 4 of action, and this is setting up to be one of the most exciting seasons of the Grand Prix World Series so far. And we have a lot of information to bring you, so let's get straight to it. First of all, a change to the driver criteria for this season. Beforehand, a driver was only eligible if they had not won a Formula 1 Grand Prix and if they had tested an F1 car in some capacity, be it a young driver test, a free practice session, or if they were a former race driver. As long as they had driven Formula 1 machinery and were not a Grand Prix winner, then they were eligible to enter. Well, that has now all changed. We are now removing the criteria for having to have driven a Formula 1 car, so any eligible racing driver will be one that has not won a Grand Prix in the past. So many more drivers that can come into this championship and make the most of it in the Grand Prix World Series. That they must be credited as a legitimate racing driver. So the likes of Richard Hammond, he has driven a Formula 1 car, but he's not actually a racing driver, so not eligible to race in the Grand Prix World Series. But we have a lot of exciting prospects coming into this championship. We can't wait to see who is going to come out as top dog come the end of the season. But as well as opening up the driver criteria, we have also introduced a new driver draft system that will see the driver lineups in the teams be massively shaken up for Season 4. How it works, all the results from last season were collated into one big collective championship order, and then that was the order in which teams could pick their drivers. All the drivers became free agents at the end of last season. So the top team, the team that scored the most points across both leagues, and that was Fonmetal, they had the first pick of their driver. And then after all 26 teams had picked their first driver for their teams, we then went at it again for the second drivers, except in reverse order. So the bottom team was able to make the first pick of their second driver and so on. And with the way the driver draft played out, we had a lot of the more established drivers going early, such as reigning champion Scott Dixon. But we also had a few surprise left field drivers who've come into the Grand Prix World Series grid now. And before we get into who is driving for where, a quick rundown of what the calendar is looking like for the season. Today, we're going to start off in Jacarepagua in Brazil before heading to Buenos Aires. It's already been on the calendar a couple of times and it will stay for Season 4 as well. Indianapolis will make its debut on the Grand Prix World Series calendar before heading to Toronto in Canada for round 4. The European season will kick off in Montjuic Park in Spain before heading to the fan-created Dijon-Bourgogne in France. Mugello in Italy will be the 7th round ahead of the Nürburgring in Germany, and after that round there will be a mid-season test where the reserve drivers and some new drivers can have a go in the cars as well. Istanbul in Turkey will be round 9 ahead of Pärnu in Estonia, a new addition, as well as Anderstorp in Sweden. Zhuhai in China will be the 12th round before Autopolis in Japan, and then rounding out the season will be Yongan, Sepang, 2 races that have already been on the calendar, and Surfers Paradise in Australia will see out the season before the second running of the Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix. The first winner was Marcus Ericsson. Will he be able to defend his Macau crown, or will we have a second winner in 2 seasons? So we've already had how the driver draft works. We've had what the calendar is going to look like for this season. Now let's get on to who is driving where. And as we're going to be starting off with the League 2 race today, we will take you through the League 2 drivers first, and the top team to start the season is Dome with the number 1 and the number 2, the top returning team from last season. They have taken on the services of Nick Cassidy and Ritomo Miyata, 2 champions in Japan, now racing for the Japanese team, and this has to be one of the favourites already. The quality of their driver lineup is already getting some team managers a bit worried as to how well they're going to run this season. Ren Sato will be the reserve driver for David Yunt's team, and this will be one to watch as we get on with Season 4. Ram Racing once again will be headed up by Ross McGregor, who has taken on Alex Palou and new driver Matt Campbell. A bit of an unexpected choice, but the sports car ace will be making his debut in the Grand Prix World Series with Jack Doohan in reserve for Ross McGregor's team. Another potential championship contender here, especially with a 2-time IndyCar champion Alex Palou there. Puts in some giant-killing performances last season with AGS. What can he do with a potentially front-running car this season? We'll have to see how Ross McGregor manages his team throughout the season. Zach Speed, once again headed up by Mike Smith, has taken on Stoffel Vandoorne, who sat out the second half of last season, having been replaced at Simtech by Oliver Behrman, and he will be joined by Zane Maloney in the number 6, another rookie, joining the grid with Victor Martins in reserve for the Zach Speed team. Scuderia Coloni has Kimi Antonelli and Kush Maini as the ratios, and Lewis Bassendale might have to really be thinking about potential driver options here, because in the real-life world of Formula 1, Kimi Antonelli rumoured to maybe even be joining the grid as soon as mid-season. So should that be the case that Antonelli joins Formula 1, he will no longer be eligible for the Grand Prix World Series. So something for Bassendale to think about there. But Alicia Pemalski, the female British driver, is ready and waiting in reserve should Antonelli become unavailable. Chris Hosey will once again head up the LaRousse team, taking on Matteo Caroli and Abby Pulling, one of our many female drivers on the grid this season. A real influx of female drivers, which is great to see in the Grand Prix World Series. But 2 rookies for the LaRousse team. This is a race-winning outfit. Can they continue that trend into Season 4? Theo Overhouse is in reserve for LaRousse. Will his services be required at any point in the season? We will wait and see. The Dams team is with Phil Kinch once again, who will be making his first full season with this team. The Viant has been dropped, is now just outright Dams with Honda Power and Pato Ward and Colton Herter. 2 IndyCar stars will be heading up this driver lineup, with Danny Juncker Day in reserve, dropped by Arrows after last season. He will be in reserve of this team, and if he can get a chance at a drive throughout the season, he will do everything he can to make sure he can get another full-time seat back. Perry Brown takes on Carlin once again, taking on race winner Callum Ilott alongside debutant Rio Hirakawa, a World Endurance Championship champion already. And this team could potentially be a dark horse for the season. A very strong driver lineup there, could be one to watch with Toyota Power at the Carlin team. Jack Crawford in reserve there, putting some American spice into the team. Will his services be required? We'll wait and see. It's an all-British driver lineup at the German team Real, headed up by Ed Hunter. Mike Conway is joined by another female debutant, Jamie Chadwick, and we will be interested to see how the Indy Next driver gets on this season. A 3-time champion of W Series. She's definitely got some potential here. And Dan Ticktum in reserve. He's done 13 races already in the Grand Prix World Series. A few points here and there, but nothing much to shout about. But could be a very solid reserve driver should Conway or Chadwick need to be replaced at any point in the season. Forty Corsi, one of our demotees from League One last season. Once again, Dave Goddard at the helm. And he's taken on Luke Browning and Zach O'Sullivan full-time this season. Browning putting in some strong performances with the Simtech team last season. Could even have gotten a podium in Hockenheim before a mechanical issue forced him out of the race. And Sasanapol Intrapuvasak will be the reserve driver there with Ford Power on the Forty Corsi team. Surtees, one of our new teams on the grid, headed up by Jake Santon, has taken on an all-female driver lineup in Jess Hawkins, Sarah Moore and Dorian Pan, the reserve driver for this team here. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one. I think there is some potential there, and this could be potentially putting in some giant-killing performances throughout the season, but it does depend on how well Sanson develops his power and his reliability throughout the season. Prima Racing, another new addition to the Grand Prix World Series grid. Alex Johnson taking on board this team, and he's really going for it with his driver lineup. Will Power The Season 2 League 2 champion, that is a statement of intent, hiring Will Power there, alongside Japanese rookie Tomoki Najiri, a Super Formula champion. This could definitely be one to watch, especially with Eduardo Mortara in reserve, a Formula E vice champion. This could be one of the stronger driver lineups on the grid. We'll wait to see how they get on. Michael Gillespie giving us a blast from the past with the new Toleman team. Bruno Senna coming aboard to give us a reuniting of Senna with Toleman from 1984. Bruno returning to the grid, having competed in Season 1, and he will be joined by Dennis Hauger making his debut here today, with Paul Aron, the reserve driver, Formula 2 ace and recent Formula E debutant as well. Not too sure how this team is going to get on, with Senna getting a little bit on in age now, but the experience is definitely there. Hauger's definitely got the potential of being a Formula 3 champion. Could maybe spring a surprise here and there. We'll wait to see how Michael Gillespie's team gets on. And finally, in the League 2 team and driver lineup, Andretti Autosport, our final entering team. And this is a really strong driver lineup as well. Nick de Vries, one of our championship contenders in League 1 with Minardi last season, alongside Jake Dennis, the Formula E reigning champion. This could be, if any team out of new teams is going to properly challenge, I think it might well be this one. 2 Formula E champions, De Vries a Formula 2 champion as well. Linus Lundqvist in reserve for this team, with Linus O'Howell, one of our new team managers, at the helm here. So plenty of excitement, plenty of intrigue to come in this championship with 4 new teams. Could they shake up the order from the off? We'll see how they get on. And during the off-season, there were some changes to the way that the power and the reliability works, with it being intended that it'll bring the action much closer together. We'll see closer racing and more peril of retirements as well, which means team managers will have to think a bit more about upgrading their reliability. Such was the power-heavy developments of Season 3. But how has that translated into qualifying for the League 2 race? Well, we can have a look now, and it is a Ram Racing 1-2. Alex Palou takes the first pole position of the season, only 0.07 ahead of his debutant teammate Matt Campbell. A perfect start to the season there for Ross McGregor, but can they convert that into a race win today? We have quite a few laps to decide that just yet. Nick de Vries gives Andretti third on the grid for their debut, ahead of Rio Harikawa and Callum Ilott, the 2 Carlins, in the top 5 there. Colton Herta 6th for Dams, ahead of Nick Cassidy in the Dome. Tomoki Najiri 8th for Prema, ahead of Jake Dennis, both Andretti's in the top 9. And Ritomo Miata rounding out the top 10 for the first race of the season. Kimi Antonelli for his debut will be 11th, ahead of Luke Browning and Zach O'Sullivan, the 2 40 courses together on the grid there. Jamie Chadwick, the leading female driver today, in 14th in the Real, ahead of Will Power in the Prema, Stoffel Van Dorn in the Zach Speed, Pato Ward in the Dams, Dennis Hauger, Zay Maloney and Kush Mania. That's the top 20 there. And then at the back of the grid, Mike Conway in 21st, ahead of Jess Hawkins, Abby Pulling, Sarah Moore, Matteo Caroli and Bruno Senna, the top 23, as you can see there, within a second of each other. So a very closely fought qualifying session for the race today. But how will this new power and reliability order work out in the race? Well, to take you through the action, and once again, Tom Cairns is ready and waiting in the commentary box. Tom, take it away.
It's time for the start of a brand new season of the Grand Prix World Series here at the Jacarepagua circuit in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. 2 Rams on the front row with Alex Palou ahead of Matt Campbell. The 5-way lights are coming on now. Lights on. Lights off. The 2 Rams get off the line, but we want to see Nick de Vries in the Andretti. He's got through on both of them. Nick de Vries in the Andretti ahead of both Alex Palou and Matt Campbell, heading into the first right-hander of the course. So de Vries leads, and it's Callum Ilott who's in second place in the Carlin. So both Rams down to 3rd and 4th places. Not a good start for either of Palou or Campbell. I think Campbell is ahead of Palou now in 3rd position. So Palou from pole position is down to 4th place. And now we look at Rio Harikawa, who's making his debut in the Grand Prix World Series in the Carlin, who's just ahead of another debutant, that is Nick Cassidy. Ahead of Colton Herta, who's a veteran of the Grand Prix World Series. Ahead of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Ritomo Miata and Jake Dennis running out the top 10. The drivers are now coming onto the back straight before they approach a left-hander. And we are looking at Matt Campbell, who's going for it on Callum Ilott. get back through into second place on the inside. But Ilott is able to resist on this occasion. Ilott remains in front of the Ram. It's quite a start to the season for the grid. Very close in terms of qualifying. But there is Nick de Vries, former Minardi driver last season, now racing in League 2 for the new Andretti team. One of 4 new teams in the Grand Prix World Series this season. The others being Surtees, Kramer, as the last one on the list, that will be Tolman, that is managed by Michael Gillespie. And we watch Callum Ilott trying to hold off Matt Campbell. He's doing so, but he's making it very, very hard for the 2 Rams. And de Vries is pulling away at the moment. 47 laps ahead of the drivers. And one driver who's not going to be completing 47 laps of the race is the Surtees of Sarah Moore, one of many debutants in the race. And Surtees' first race in the Grand Prix World Series is going to end with one of their drivers out on the second lap. Sarah Moore retires, and I think there's a driver who is behind her at the moment. We'll want to see who that will be, but it's the end of the road for Sarah. She had hoped for more than just getting ahead on the, well, going further in the race than a lap and a bit. As we see Will Power, who's in 17th position, former Leighton House driver. Didn't win a race last season, but he is the League 2 Drivers' Champion of Season 2. And in the moment he is stopped behind Pato Ward. Will Power racing for Prima this season alongside Tomoki Najiri. And then we look at Antonelli, who is under threat from the dome of Ritomo Miata, who dives to the inside of the Italian. And that's a position gain there for the Formula 2 driver of this season. Super Formula champion last year. De Vries already 2 seconds clear of the pack. And he'll be hoping to go further on and clinch his first win of the season in Andretti's first Grand Prix World Series race. And we look at Campbell, who's still trying to get through on Ilott. It's proven to be quite a difficult track to overtake on. Not quite so for... We could see who's making a move there. I think that's Jake Dennis on the inside of Kimi Antonelli, and that's a position gained. Approaching the end of lap 3. De Vries, Ilott, Campbell, Palou in your top 4. It's Nick Casti in the dome in 5th place. It's Ryo Hirakawa, Colton Herter, Ritomo Miata, Jake Dennis, and Kimi Antonelli running out the top 10. And it's Palou behind his teammate still. Not anymore. He's ahead of him now into 3rd position. And there goes the young Spaniard who raced for AGS last season. Couldn't prevent them from relegation. AGS no longer competing in the Grand Prix World Series. They folded after they went down from League 1. Alex Palou, meanwhile, was able to get a drive within Ross McGregor's Ram Racing team. So far, so good for Nick de Vries, and Callum Ilott in the Carlin doing a fine job so far. He had a difficult time with it last season with LaRousse, but first race of the season, he's coming on form. Round the back straight they come, the 4th time in the event. Now the Jacarepagua circuit in Brazil was last year's for Formula 1 in 1989. It's the venue for the Brazilian Grand Prix for a number of years, until it fell away from the calendar in favour of Interlagos. And de Prix going through the box corner before he heads towards the start-finish line to begin another lap. Here's Campbell, who lost the position to Palou at this corner on the previous lap. He's not able to get his own back on him and get into second position. So you note that some drivers will be doing the 2-stop, others will be doing the 1. So keep an eye out on who is doing what. Nick de Vries making it look so easy at the moment. Last season, Nick de Vries won 3 races. First one coming in Fuji. And the others coming in Brands Hatch and in San Carlos. Tomakina Jiri trying to get through on his compatriot and former Super Formula rival, Tomo Miyata. Vries continuing on his way. 3 seconds clear over Ilott. Palou, Campbell and Cassidy. And there is Krishmaini. I think he came into the pits at the end of the first lap with damage. Hence why he was behind Sarah Moore when Moore had pulled off. But he's found himself with a lot of work to do on his Grand Prix World Series debut. And Krishmaini, who's raced in Formula 2, is the younger brother of Arjun Maini, who also raced in the category not too long ago. Jacarepagua will be one of 11 new circuits on the Grand Prix World Series calendar this season. I'll run through on where the series will be heading to. Round 2 will be in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And it's off to Indianapolis at the Motor Speedway. And whilst we are watching that, well, whilst we are mentioning that, we're watching Campbell go for a move on Palou into the left-hander. No way through at the moment. Round 4 will be at Toronto, Canada. And it's off to Montjuic Park in Spain. Dijon-Bourgogne in France for round 6. And it's Mugello and Nürburgring, which will close out the first half of the season. The mid-season test being held at the Nürburgring. Round 9 will be at Istanbul. The 10th round will be at another new venue in Pärnu, Estonia. Understop in Sweden is the venue for round 11. Zhuhai in China, which will be the 12th round of the championship. Voltopolis in Japan, Yongam, South Korea, Sepang, Malaysia. And the 16th and final race this season will be held at Surfers Paradise, Australia. And following that will be the non-championship Macau Grand Prix event, which was contested last season for the first time. Here's de Vries in the red and black liveried Andretti. You can see Luke Browning racing for 40 this season. Relegated from League 1 in Season 3. Hoping to bounce back this time around. Won't be easy with the grid that B2 has. Matt Campbell on the inside of Palou, and I think this is going to be a change for position, is it? No. Palou is able to fend him off. You can see the two Rams dicing for position at this stage of the race. And the top 3 teams at the end of the season will get promoted to League 1. The bottom 3 teams of League 1 will go down to League 2. Andretti aiming to be one of them this season. Mattel won the teams championship in League 2 last season. Mascot Lola and Force India also went up. And following the demise of Super Aguri, AGS and Midland from the Grand Prix World Series altogether, Pacific were granted an entry into League 1 after finishing 4th. in the lead. Ilott second. He's been the way since the start. DeFries with the fastest lap as well. There's Jamie Chadwick on her debut for the Real team. Going for it on Luke Browning, and that's enough for her to go up into 12th position. Teammate Mike Conway's outside the top 15 as we speak. And on board with Alex Palou. Round 2. Complete his 8th lap. Freeze continuing to head out in front. Is Campbell and Cassidy. Now the teams are going to be wary about reliability this season because the number of points of reliability have increased, which means the greater the risk of the car breaking down. The team manager should be on the lookout for that. .240s of Browning and O'Sullivan from 13th and 14th. DeFries continuing on his way as we watch O'Sullivan looking for a move on his compatriot Luke Browning. He's not able to get through. In P2. For his first podium since season 2, the last time he's finished on a podium in terms of the race that he had finished on the podium in, if I can just find that information for you. Campbell going for it on Palou again into the first corner, but not able to make it stick. And I think Van Dorn is slowing down at the end of the start-finish straight. His first race back in the Grand Prix Series, Stoffel Van Dorn's Jacarepagua Grand Prix is going to end pulling him to the side of the track, and that is him out of the race. So not a good start for team manager Mike Smith, who came reasonably close, but not close enough, unfortunately, to be in the realms of promotion. Van Dorn's retirement only makes that job harder, but it is the first race of the season. And we can see a move from Nick Cassidy now on Matt Campbell, and that's enough for him to go up into 4th place for the former Super Formula driver. Next man ahead of him is the other ramp of Alex Palou, and Najiri's got through there on Ryo Hirakawa, who I think is nursing an issue, otherwise Najiri wouldn't have got through as easily. And yeah, I think Hirakawa's got a problem in that car, so you'll want to pull into the pit lane to get the problem sorted out. And Hirakawa, is he able to get back to the pit lane, or is it stretched too far for him? No, he's able to get back to the pit lane, and one man who is not going to be able to get back into the pit lane is Kushmaini, who ends on the grass with a mechanical problem. So that's one of Lewis Passendale's cars out. Maini retires with engine failure. And Callum Eilott's out from second. I don't believe it. Perry Brown's season hasn't got off to the best of starts. Callum Eilott out from second position. What rotten luck. Well, Hirakawa came into the pits with a problem. Now Eilott has pulled off with a problem of his own. And you just see a move there from the that might have been... is it Mike Conway who's trying to go through, or Will Power? I can't quite tell. Some of the liveries from some of the teams may have changed for this season. Need to freeze, continuing on. And you just see Palou just going a bit too deep into the last turn before the pit straight. Palou is now 9 seconds off the lead. To freeze, making it look so easy, but never say never. Anything can happen. So we've lost 4 drivers from this race now. So just getting through on Miata for 8th position. Making a very good impression in his first race. So many debuts after the driver criteria was changed. You used to have to have done at least an F1 test or an official practice session in order to be eligible. Well, not anymore. As long as you are competing or have competed in a professional racing championship of any capacity, you would be eligible to compete in this, as long as you are not a full-time Formula 1 driver or a Formula 1 race winner. Now here's Pato Ward in 15th position. Now O'Ward, who's racing for the Dams team under their new livery for this season. Phil Kinch in charge of the squad. As we see Nick De Vries continuing on. Andretti in the hands of Linus O'Howell. Be very, very pleased to see how his driver is getting on. And Jamie Chadwick's fight through the field is beginning to really catch a lot of people's eyes, and she has got through on Miata into the first turn to put herself up into 9th place behind Kimi Antonelli. Riel had a tough time of it last season, finishing bottom of the League 2 Teams Championship, and Rio Hirakawa is able to post a new fast lap of the race. First driver to post a time in the sub 90-second mark. Matt Campbell's under threat now from Jake Dennis in the other Andretti. And Jake Dennis, as some will know, is a Formula E champion with Andretti. Freeze continuing in the lead at the end of lap 13. The gap is over 9 seconds to Alex Palou. Is De Vries doing a 1-stop or is he doing a 2? And Miata is about to be overtaken by Sacco Sullivan now. And that drops him further down the order. I wonder if that dome is struggling for grip at the moment. Nick Cassidy ahead of Campbell. Nick Cassidy, the Kiwi, ahead of Matt Campbell. A pair of them absolutely going for it. Goes De Vries on his own, having no such problems so far, aiming for his 4th Grand Prix World Series win. Four drivers out of the race so far. We lost Sarah Moore on the second lap. We also lost Stoff van Dorn, Kushmini, and Callum Ilott, who was running in second at the time before he pulled out with mechanical gremlins. Lowe's pulling away from Cassidy and Campbell. Jake Dennis is right on the tail of the pair of them. And very close behind them actually is Colton Herter. He's aiming for better luck this season than what he had at AGS in Season 3. Campbell attempted to go for it on Cassidy, but the move just didn't come off in the end. Freeze coming to complete lap 15. Should be in the realms of some pit stops happening. And DeFries is in at the end of lap 15, so that explains his pace from earlier. He's definitely going on a 2-stop. Feed back out. Don't know for certain how much time you need for a pit stop. He's outside the top 15 anyways, DeFries, so we won't know for certain at this moment in time. Hello takes over the race lead then. Cassidy ahead of Campbell, Dennis, Herter, Algeria is not too far off, 6th place. Cassidy is under threat here from Campbell, who dives to the inside. Is Cassidy able to hold him off on this occasion? He is, just about. Very well done there to Nick Cassidy, keeping hold of 2nd place. We see a battle there between Maloney and Hauger. And Caroli and DeFries are just behind these, behind this lot. They are battling for positions, so there's no blue flags involved. Just wonder how long it will take for DeFries to get through on this lot. So if others are doing the 1-stop, then he needs to get through on all of these drivers if he's to have any chance of taking victory today. Nick Cassidy coming into the pits, as is Jake Dennis. Is anyone heading for the pits? Zach O'Sullivan is. 3 drivers in the pits at the end of lap 16. DeFries has got through on Caroli. He's now in 13th. Hauger, who's racing for Tolman. Colton Herter in 3rd place for Dams. Going very, very well in their traditional sort of GP2 series livery. And watching the other Dams of Patrick Ward coming through. On the inside of Mike Conway in the Real. And we watch Campbell in P2. Is he doing the 2-stop? Is he doing the 1? He's not coming in at the end of this lap. I can tell you that his teammate Alex Palou has come in from the race lead. That gives Campbell the chance to lead a race, and many other drivers pissing in as well. And DeFries will be very happy to see that. And has he got ahead of Palou? He has done. Palou will be coming out of the pits very, very shortly. In terms of the gap, I think Palou was about 3 seconds clear of Campbell before he came in. We'll see what the sector times say in regards to how much time you need for a pit stop. to make the strategy work, I'd say you need at least 28 seconds. Nick DeFries is running in 8th place now. He's just got through on Mike Conway. Next driver ahead of him is Ritomo Miata. And DeFries going for it again. That's probably too easy of a move there on Miata, who looks to be running an issue. Campbell comes in from the race lead now. Miata heads for the pit lane. Jury and Chadwick are also in. That allows Colton Herter and Kimi Antonelli to go into the lead. And we're watching a battle between Palou and Dennis now. Dennis was nearly able to get through on the Spaniard. He's still going at it again. And the highest of all those that have made a pit stop has to be Nick DeFries. The one driver is now ahead of Alex Palou is Ryo Hirakawa, because he pitted with a problem a few laps before we started seeing these the scheduled pit stops. And with all the clear track he had, by setting the fastest up of the race, he's able to complete an undercut. Shot through on Bruno Senna now has Hirakawa, having a very good race so far. And Colton Herter is the next to pit from the race lead, and Antonelli is doing exactly the same thing from P2. DeFries back into the lead then on lap 20. And in second place now, of all drivers, is Jess Hawkins in the only Surtees left in the race. She's not pitted yet. I would say by this stage of the race, she's probably going to be trying to do the one stop. I think that's her best chance of salvaging any points for Jake Sanson's team. Pato Award on the inside of Miata. That's good enough for him to move up into 21st position. Miata down in 22nd and last place now. 4 drivers out. Alan Eilot, Kushmini, Stoffel van Dorn, and Sarah Moore. We are watching the Ram, and I think that's... Is that Alex Palou making a move on Bruno Senna? It is. There's nothing to move into 4th position on track. Bruno Senna is the only Brazilian driver running in this League 2 race. I think he's another one of those going for the one stop. Oh, and that's Jess Hawkins running wide, and she's just allowed the Carlin to go through there of Hirakawa. Now, is there going to be contact? No, I think that's Hawkins just running too far out wide, whilst Hirakawa was getting through. And that's her down 2 positions. Hirakawa into second place, Palou now 3rd. We just saw someone go into the pits whilst all of that was going on. That was Bruno Senna coming in at the end of lap 20. Jake Dennis behind Hawkins now in the battle for 4th place. And Dennis not able to get through. And Jess will not make it very easy for him. And Palou will be on fresher tyres behind Hirakawa. They're now on the back straight. So he looks to get through. We're looking at Dennis, who is making the move on Hawkins now. And the move should be completed here. And Dennis goes through. Jake Dennis through into 4th place in the Andretti. 2 Andrettis in the top 4. And one driver who's going to be pulling out of the race is Pato Award in the Dams. I think it's a suspension failure for the Mexican. Oh, he nearly took out Miata as he pulled off there. So that's him gone from this one. Pulling off in the same places where Ilott had retired earlier. That's the 5th retirement of the race. Approaching the end of lap 21. In fact, we've completed lap 21 now by the race leader. But we're looking at a battle for second as Palou dives to the inside of Hirakawa, and that's enough to go through into second place. A change for position. And Palou needing to make that move stick if he's to have any chance of fighting it out with De Vries in this one. He's running too far out wide though, and is that going to give Hirakawa the position back? Looking to see, is Hirakawa there? I don't think he is. Palou very lucky to keep it on the track. Behind Hirakawa is Dennis. Hawkins ahead of Cassidy. Right on board there. Was that Jamie Chadwick who's behind Nigeria? I can't quite tell. Might be the other Real thinking of it. I think that might have been Conway. There is Nigeria. Yes, I think I was right. It was Nigeria who's ahead of Jamie Chadwick. Ahead of Nigeria is Abby Pullin, who we've not really spoken enough about in this one. And Pullin is coming into the pits for her first stop of the race. I think it'll be her only stop as well. She's done well to get up into the position that she has got to. Pullin comes in. She'll rejoin at the back, but she'll be on fresher tyres and with clear track, which could help her later on. De Vries' lead is 12 seconds. He is due into the pits again though. Look at Hirakawa, who's running in 3rd position behind Palou. We just saw a move further back. I think it might have been Matt Campbell trying to go for it on Cassidy, but didn't work. On lap 23, is Jess Hawkins going to come into the pits at the end of this one? She's got a bit of a gap over Sacco Sullivan. He's run about a second, thinking of it. And Hirakawa comes in. And this is his second stop of the race. It's his first scheduled one. And Jess Hawkins has decided to stay out once again. But she'll have O'Sullivan breathing her down. And there's a problem for one of the Reals going slowly. And I think it's Jamie Chadwick, unfortunately. And that's a terrible shame for the Brit. His spirited debut is going to end in retirement for the 3-time W Series champion. And Chadwick retires from the race. Bitter disappointment for team manager Ed Hunter. Conway is still going in the race, although Maloney's just gone for a spin in the Zach Speed. No one else was involved in that. And Maloney is pointing the wrong way. And that ruins any chance of points for Mike Smith and for the Zach Speed team. I just want to watch how Maloney rejoins back onto the circuit, because a number of drivers have had to navigate their way around him. He's back on the track now. I'm just waiting for another car to go through. And Maloney rejoins in 20th and last place now behind Abby Pullen. Into Freeze in P1. He's close second. There's Jake Dennis in third. Matt Campbell in fourth. And it's Nick Cassidy in fifth. Jess Hawkins sixth. Zach O'Sullivan, Tommy Najiri, Colton Herter and Will Power in the top 10 at the present moment. Hawkins has decided to come into the pits at the end of lap 24. Should be very happy with the stint that she's put in. Here is the ramp of Alex Palou ahead of Jake Dennis. About a dozen seconds off De Vries at the front. In 9th position now ahead of Will Power. Come through the left-hander before the box corner, which is Lagoa. In the last corner of Victoria. Palou's got the gap down a little bit on De Vries, but it's only very little. I think it's running about 3/10 or something like that he took out of him on that last lap. And Browning going for it on Will Power for 10th position. Is this enough for the Fords to go up into the points? The answer to that question is yes, it is. 2 Fords in the top 10 with O'Sullivan in 6th. And Browning in 10th place. It could be even higher than that because it looks like one of the Finnish Colton Hertz who's just let Antonelli go through. Or was it the other way around with... No, I think Colton Hertz has got an issue because he's just allowed a number of cars to get back through. And in fact, that's just helped Power get back ahead of Browning. I think Colton Hertz is going to be pulling into the pits at the end of the lap. That's if he does, of course. There's Dennis, there is Campbell. It's Cassidy, O'Sullivan and Najiri. And Matteo Caroli is behind Mike Conway. Colton Hertz comes into the pits. It's not a bright start to the season for Phil Kinch and for the Dams team. We'd hoped for better. It did show signs of progress last season when Mirko Bortolotti was given the chance. Reserve driver for the Dams team is Danny Yonkandea, former Arrows pilot. This is the 27 lap now. 20 drivers still running with Colton Hertz rejoining in last place. The gap between De Vries and Palou was 11.7 seconds in sector 2. Palou's got it down a tiny bit. De Vries will just be focusing on keeping the car on the circuit between now and the checkered flag. That's all he needs to do. So we've got Andretti Ram in the top 4. And it's Cassidy's Dome, O'Sullivan's 40. Giri's Prima, Antonelli's Coloni, Browning's 40, and Power's Prima. There's a move there from Bruno Senna on Ritomo Miata to change the position there, and that's good enough for Senna to go up into 15th. Now we look at Campbell, looking to get past Jake Dennis on the inside. Into the fast, sweeping left-hander. Is Dennis able to hold on? No, he can't hold on there. And Campbell is still up into 3rd place in the Ram. So 2 Rams back in the top 3. With Campbell overtaking Dennis for 3rd position. Much to go. We've still got another round of pit stops where some of the drivers will be making their second stops. Others will be going to the end. Now, Ryo Hirakawa, the young Japanese driver, part of the McLaren setup, running in 14th place. Fresher tyres, and he's catching Dennis Hauger. He'll be happy to have the clear track ahead of him. Brynison is in front as well of Jess Hawkins. He's aiming for points too. Now we look at Zach O'Sullivan behind Tommy Kinajiri. Way through for the Brit, who's racing in Formula 2 for ART. Now is Maloney ahead of Herta. Herta will be very desperate to get through here. De Vries begins another lap. Too far away from victory. And one driver is going to be pulling out of the race. It's his teammate Jake Dennis. On fire, on the pit straight. And that's going to give team manager Linus O'Howell quite a worry here. He's got to hope that the same doesn't strike his teammate Nick De Vries. He retires from 4th place after being in the top 3 for so long. That allows Nick Cassidy, Tommy Kinajiri and Zach O'Sullivan to move up positions. Mike Conway goes up into the points now for Riel, and there's Zane Maloney going off the circuit at the last turn. He tried to go for the pits and just completely misjudged it. I don't know how on earth he has managed to do that, to be honest with you. Same Maloney. Saxby's race just goes from bad to worse. He's back on track again. And Matt Campbell in 3rd place can breathe a little easier now that Dennis is out. It's the same thing last season at the season opener in Malaysia for Jake Dennis when he was racing for Andrea Moda and pulled off with a puncher whilst he was running in the top 3. It's a similar scenario anyway. Oh, and that's an engine failure for Nick Cassidy, and nearly takes over Ritomo Miata, who goes off! It's Tom Najiri, sorry, but Najiri's gone off the circuit. Cassidy retires from the race with mechanical gremlins. It's an unfortunate chain of events there. Najiri goes off into the gravel. And the wheels come off. And that's him out. Najiri is out of the race, as is Cassidy. Now that could land Cassidy a race ban for that, unfortunately, because that's resulted in the retirement for Najiri going off. So there'll be some words between David Johnson and Alex Johnson, that's for sure. Nick Cassidy is out of the race, as is Tomoki Najiri, and the stewards will have their verdicts on the matter as well. 2 more drivers out of the race then, towards the top end of the field. What will the stewards say on that? And the verdict will be as follows, if we can get one on the screen. And Dennis Hauger in the Tolman is going to be retiring with mechanical gremlins as well. At least he doesn't take out a driver whilst he's at it. I think he was running in the points actually, was Hauger. I'm correct with that. But that's one of Michael Gillespie's cars gone from this one. Now, we didn't quite see what the verdict was with Cassidy and Najiri, because it looked like Cassidy moved across on Najiri whilst he was trying to pull off. We'll find out on the classification later. Matt Campbell comes into the pits for the 2nd time in this race from 3rd place, as is Zach O'Sullivan in 4th. As is Kimi Antonelli, who was running in 6th. So that allows Luke Browning to go up into 3rd place. Mike Conway also comes in, as does Matteo Caroli. That allows Hirakawa to go through. Bruno Senna goes through as well. Here's Nick de Vries, concentrating on the job in hand. The gap has come down slightly to 11 seconds. Won't have any back markers to worry about. As we speak, he's due in again for another stop. Here's the Dutchman, who was part of the Toyota Gazoo racing team that won the 6 Hours of Imola recently. Doing a good job in his first race for 40. He showed some flair whilst he was at Simtech. So de Vries is in from the race lead. Hello goes through for now. Is Browning going to go through? He should be able to. No, I think de Vries is going in front of Browning. So that the timing of the pit stop has paid dividends for de Vries, because now he can go for an attempt to get the fastest up the race. He is up for that. Hirakawa in 6th position, ahead of Bruno Senna. Sako Sullivan. Mitsumo Miyato is 9th. And Kimi Antonelli, following his last stop, is in the top 10. Jess Hawkins is 11th. It's Mike Conway, Colton Herter, Matteo Caroli. Abby Pulling is in 15th place. Right at the back now. Just trying to think who's in 16th and last position, because we can't see it on the classification. And there's an engine problem ahead of O'Sullivan, and Bruno Senna has got his home crowd falling to their knees to see their beloved hero carrying the name of his uncle, his late uncle, and he's going to be pulling out of the race with an engine problem. And Luke Browning comes into the pits from 3rd position, and in fact, the Brazilian fans are going to have a huge sigh of relief here, because Bruno Senna is going to be able to get back into the race now that he's just come into the pits. will fall out of the points. At least he'll make it to the checker flag once he comes back out. So there's Hertz being overtaken by Matteo Caroli in the LaRousse. Shane Maloney, who's the other driver left in the race. He's ahead of Bruno Senna now. After Bruno Senna came into the pits with the problem. 14 laps to go. Alex Palou currently leads. He is due into the pits again before this race is over, I think. And he is in now. Matt Campbell in third place. Might just get in front of Palou. I think he will, with the pace that he is going as we speak. He's coming down the pit straight now. Where is Palou? Is he leaving the pits? He is leaving the pits. And he just gets out in front of his teammate. That was very, very close, but both of the Rams are in second and third places. Looking very good for a very strong result, but it's not going to be the race win as it stands. That's heading in the way of Andretti in the maiden appearance of the Grand Prix World Series. Another driver heading into the pits is Matteo Caroli in the LaRousse from 14th position, and he'll fall behind Shane Maloney and Bruno Senna. In fact, Maloney is coming in as well. And Campbell wants second place from Palou, whilst Palou's tyres are gathering temperature. He's not able to go through on this occasion. There's Nick de Vries. 14 seconds clear. 13 laps to go at the end of this one. Race so far for Andretti, but we did see Jake Dennis go out not too long ago with mechanical gremlins. De Vries has been in this situation before with Minardi, where he had been leading convincingly before mechanical gremlins robbed him of victory. We saw it at Hockenheim. We see him move from willpower, dive into the inside of Jess Hawkins for 8th place. Conway has just been overtaken by Luke Browning now. Browning up into the points. And there's Power. Trying to get through on Ritomo Miata. And there's a problem for the Ram of Matt Campbell in third place at the end of the back straight. It's a shame for Ross McGregor, but good news for Andretti. And that also promotes the Carlin of Ryo Hirakawa up into third place. On lap 36, Matt Campbell retires. So there's one Andretti and one Ram left in the race now. Brake issues sidelining the Australian. Alex Palou is just posted a new fastest lap of the race, 1:29.9. And Zach O'Sullivan going for it on Ryo Hirakawa. And O'Sullivan's race is going from strength to strength. 40 could be on course for their maiden podium in the Grand Prix World Series. Dave Goddard will be chuffed with that. I never thought I'd be saying that, but 40 are on course for their first podium in their 48th Grand Prix World Series race. They are about to achieve that for the first time. Ritomo Miata has got Conway and Browning right on his tail. Hawkins has just been overtaken by Browning. She's doing her best to stay in the points, but it won't be easy from there. She'll probably have to hope for a few more drivers to drop out of this before the checkered flag. Conway on the inside of Miata, but he's not able to make the move stick. Nice blow. Going down the gap a little bit onto Freeze. It's under 13 seconds. He won't catch De Vries from there. He'll have to hope that trouble strikes the Dutchman. And Conway behind Miata. Not anymore. He's through into 7th position. Conway carrying the form of what he had at the season finale in Laguna Seca last season. He's doing to P7. Nicely done by him. So it's Andretti leading Ram, leading 40, leading Carlin, leading Coloni, leading Prima, leading Real, leading Dome, leading 40, leading Surtees. I think that's 9 different teams in the top 10 places. The only team on course to get both cars in the points of all teams are 40. The team that went down from League 1 last season. O'Sullivan 3rd, Browning in 9th. Got 9 laps left in this race. The opening round of Season 4 in the Grand Prix World Series. De Vries on course for his 4th Grand Prix World Series win. Alex Palou will be standing on the podium for the first time in his career. Psycho Sullivan will be doing the same. And it'll be 40's first. And Browning up the inside of Miata, and 40's race continues to get better. Browning into 8th place. 15 drivers left in the race, 11 are out. Jess Hawkins will be right up behind Miata. Should be fancying her chances in maybe going for a move on the Japanese. Well, there is De Vries coming through. Let's complete another lap. 8 to go for him. Palou is second, ahead of O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's 12 seconds behind the Spaniard. Ryo Hirakawa in 4th place for Carlin. That will be a great result for them. I think that'll be their best result in the Grand Prix World Series. The highest they had accomplished before the race was a 7th place finish, was it? No, it was 6th. A 6th place finish in Istanbul. There's Palou on his own. The pole sitter to be on course for 2nd place to kickstart his season, and Ram's charge towards promotion. Will Powers in 6th place ahead of Conway. We're looking at Jess Hawkins going for it on Ritomo Miata. Is this going to be a change for position? Not on this occasion. And Hawkins will now need to concentrate on just keeping Colton Herta back. This is a battle for the last point between the Surtees and the Dams. Sacco O'Sullivan, third for 40. In their first race in League 2 after 3 seasons in League 1. Andretti on course to get 25 championship points. Ram are on course to get 20 because Alex Palou got the pole position and he's got fast sat. Let's go with the second place that Palou is hypothetically going to achieve. And with O'Sullivan in third and Brown in eighth, that will give 40 19 championship points, which would leave them third in the team's championship after the first race of the campaign. And they'll have achieved more points in the first race this season than he had done in the entirety of Season 3. Who'd have thought of that? Hertz has got through on Hawkins for your information, and now he's looking to get through on Miata as well, and he's got through as Hertz into 9th position. A nicely timed move, and Hertz is on course for his best result in the Grand Prix World Series. He picked up only 1 point for AGS last season. That came in Sentinel. But he's about to get dams on the board. A very spirited performance. Nice blow. Can't do anything about to freeze ahead. To freeze. And that's O'Sullivan out! Engine problem for the 40, I don't believe it! On fire. I think something else must have gone as well. Yeah, oh, he's lost it horribly there on his own oil as O'Sullivan. Huge disappointment for Dave Goddard. O'Sullivan retires from 3rd place. That allows Hirakawa, Antonelli, Power, Conway and Browning to go through. But Dave Goddard's first podium in the Grand Prix World Series is going to have to wait for another race at least. Unless Luke Browning can make his way through the field and get up into a strong 3rd position. 14 drivers left in the race now. Hertz is up to 8, Miata 9th, and Jez Hawkins in the points again for Surtees in 10th. I'll be pulling outside the points in P11. Oh, I don't believe it! Luke Browning has pulled off a mechanical problem. The car has been ripped to shreds. And 40's race has ended up with both cars off the track and will achieve no points. Unbelievable luck. What must he be thinking? Both 40s out of the race in quick succession. Hertz goes up another position, as does Miata. Hawkins now 9th. And Abby Pullen in the top 10. 2 female drivers are going to be in the points at the end of the race as it stands. It won't be for the first time that's happened. It happened in, I think it was Sentinel in League 2 where that had happened, or in Fuji as well, thinking of it. Because Susie Wolf and Tatiana Calderon finished in the points in both of those races. So we have to go back to the Fuji Grand Prix, the League 2 Fuji Grand Prix, where we had 2 female drivers finishing in the points. We are down to 13. De Vries's lead is just over 10 seconds on Palou. Ryo Hirakawa, over half a minute off the lead, is in 3rd place. Nice Palou in 2nd position. No one to challenge. No one all around him. Watkins is in 9th, on course for points on debut, as is Abby Pullin. Bruno Senna will have something to say on that, though. He came in with a problem. He's come back out again, still in the race. Caroli and Maloney are too far back to challenge. So I think that's probably the closest battle on circuit that we've got for you in the remaining laps. And Senna is 8/10 behind Pullin. De Vries is 3 laps away from victory. It's just come down to reliability here. We've seen a lot of drivers pull out of this. Half of the field have retired. The race is not done yet. There's De Vries. The gap continuing to come down ever so slightly. And down the backstretch, you can just see Palou right in the background, closing the gap. Not too long left in the first League 2 race of the campaign. So it's been a brilliant performance from Nick De Vries from start to finish. Getting off to a fantastic start, making the jump from 3rd position to leapfrog the Rams. He controlled the race from there, pretty much. We look at Bruno Senna going for it on Abby Pullin for 10th place. This is for the last point. Up the inside goes Senna. Is Pullin able to hold on here? No, she's not able to. Senna on home turf has got back into the points in 10th. That's something of a consolation for Michael Gillespie. What's been a rather wretched first race for the Tolman team. Senna is going to grab a point after all. Dennis Hauger went out earlier as well. So there is some work to do on the reliability side of things for a number of the teams. We are on the penultimate lap. And De Vries is about to start the last lap very shortly. And now Rio Hirakawa has got Kimi Antonelli and Will Power for company here. Carlin's first podium is not yet secure here. Antonelli on course for a 4th place finish on debut. Will Power knows all too well about what it takes to win in this series, both in League 2 and in League 1. Well, Nick De Vries he started the last lap. It's going to be a 4th Grand Prix World Series win for the Dutchman, and the first for Andretti on their debut. And for Linus O'Hall's first race as a team manager in this series, he could not have got off to a better start. He's going through the back straight. The crowd will be applauding De Vries as he comes over to the hairpin here at the end of the back straight. He's going through Girau for the last time. He's got the left-handers of Moret, Lagoa, Box, and the final right-hander of Vittoria to complete the first race of the season. And Andretti are going to be opening their Grand Prix World Series account with the race-winning trophy. Nick De Vries comes through the last corner for the last time. Andretti on their Grand Prix World Series debut are going to celebrate victory. Nick De Vries wins the League 2 Jacarepagua Grand Prix A dominant performance. Alex Palou in second place for Ram. It's the perfect start to the season for Andretti, and it's a fine way to kickstart Ram's season as well with a podium finish. Alex Palou on the podium for the first time. And it's going to be a first podium for Ryo Hirakawa on debut. And it's Carlin's first podium in the Grand Prix World Series. And team manager Perry Brown will be delighted to see his driver on the third place step on the podium. Ryo Hirakawa on debut makes it to the top three. Antonelli fourth, Will Power in fifth for Prima. And it's Mike Conway in sixth, ahead of Colton Herta for Dams in seventh place. That's his best Grand Prix World Series result. Ritomo Miata is eighth in his first race. Jess Hawkins for Surtees in ninth. Bruno Senna holds off Abby Pulling for the last point in the Tolman in 10th place. Matteo Caroli in 12th. And the last driver to finish will be Zane Maloney in the Zack Speed. There's your winner. It is Nick de Vries in the Andretti in Jacarepagua in lead 2. Alex Palou second, ahead of Ryo Hirakawa. Then it's Kimi Antonelli in fourth for Coloni on debut. Will Power fifth for Prima. Mike Conway sixth in the Real, ahead of Colton Herta, Ritomo Miata, Jess Hawkins, and a brilliant ninth place ahead of Bruno Senna, who takes the last point in the Tolman and over a minute behind after his mechanical problems earlier on. Abby Pulling was 11th, just missing out on the points ahead of her teammate Matteo Caroli, and it's same really the last of the finishers in 13th place. Luke Browning and Zach O'Sullivan retiring almost at the same time. No points for the 40 team. They came so close to getting a podium. Matt Campbell, Dennis Hauger, Nick Cassidy, Tomoki Najiri, and Jake Dennis, Jamie Chadwick, Patrick Ward, Callum Ilott, Kush Miney, Stoff Van Dorn, and Sarah Moore did not finish. Alex Palou took the points for pole position and for fastest lap. In relation to the incident with Tomoki Najiri and Nick Cassidy, no further action has been taken in relation to that. The first race of the season, and in Andretti's first race, they stand on the top step of the podium with Nick de Vries, carrying on where he had left off with Minardi last season. His fourth Grand Prix World Series win. What is the League One race going to produce after all that? Find out very, very shortly. Meanwhile, it's down to Topher Smith to run down on the championship standings after the first race of the season in League 2.
Well, it's race number 1 and a win number 1 for Linus O'Howell's Andretti Autosport team. A huge congratulations to Nick de Vries there, taking the first win of the season. And a big congratulations as well to Linus. It's not very often that you get a win on your debut in the Grand Prix World Series, and he could very well challenge for the title now this season. But that is only race 1 out of 16. We still have 15 more rounds to go. Plenty could change. And as you would expect, with it being the first round of the season, the race results have dictated what the driver standings look like at the moment. De Vries on top with 25. Palou took the 18 points, plus the 2 bonus points for pole and fastest lap there as well for 20 points, with Ryo Hirakawa in third ahead of Antonelli, Power, Conway, Herta, Miata, Hawkins and Senna. So that is your top 10 in the driver standings so far. And the more eagle-eyed of you might have seen already that there are 10 teams in the top 10. So when it comes to the order in the team standings, Andretti lead the way ahead of Ram on 20, then Carlin, Scuderia Coloni, Prima Racing, Real, Dams, Dome, Surtees and Tolman. I think that might be the first time ever that we have had 10 teams in the top 10 of a race result. This is fantastically competitive already, and this is setting up to be a really intriguing season of competition. Still a long way to go, still a lot of points to be won, but that was a tremendous way to kick off Season 4 of the Grand Prix World Series. And with the League 2 race now done and dusted, we're going to move on to League 1, the big boys of the Grand Prix World Series. And heading up the drivers and teams for this one is the Minardi outfit. Scott Dixon, the reigning drivers champion, has joined the reigning teams champion. That is the driver and team combination to look out for this season. And Dixon at the Minardi team will be joined by Sebastian Bourdais, 3-time race winner in the Grand Prix World Series. This is going to be a very strong driver lineup and in the hands of Giacomo Pagliaro, looking for his second title this season. Teo Porcher has joined the Minardi team as the reserve driver, and he will be hoping for his opportunity later on in the season. Von Mittal take on cars 3 and 4 with Marcus Ericsson, the League 2 Drivers' Champion. He'll be joined at the team by Felipe Nasr, who Ewan Gale is giving a go in the seat over Pascal Wehrlein, our League 2 runner-up last season. Maybe a little bit disappointed to be a reserve driver this season, but maybe some teams could potentially look for a loan of him for the season to give him some seat time. We'll see how those driver changes pan out across the course of the season. Von Mittal being powered by Ilmor engines this season, and Ewan Gale, having taken the League 2 drivers and teams titles, will now be looking to do the same in League 1 this season. Scott Woodward enters another season with the Simtech team, this time taking on Kamui Kobayashi, 3-time race winner, alongside Oliver Behrman, who made a good impression in his 2-race stints for Super Aguri last season, and he will now take on a full-time role within the Simtech team, while Enzo Fittipaldi will be the reserve driver for Scott Woodward's team. Our latest Grand Prix World Series race winner, Jose Maria Lopez, keeps his seat at the Manor team and is now being joined by Shane van Gisbergen. Sam Hall's wanted to get him on board for a very long time, but wasn't able to until the driver eligibility was opened up. Now he's able to race. Sam Hall took him as his first pick in a driver draft, and there are a lot of expectations riding on the Kiwi there. Mitch Evans, Formula E star, will be joining the team as a reserve driver and will be ready and waiting to step in should Jose Maria Lopez or Shane van Gisbergen be unavailable to race this season. Is an all-new driver lineup for the Leighton House team headed up by Chris Cavani. IndyCar superstar Joseph Newgarden is joined by sports car ace Earl Bamber in what could be one of the dark horse driver lineups of the season. Both rookies in the team, but both with a lot of speed, a lot of experience, a lot of potential to be successful here. Yifei Ye, the Chinese sports car driver, will be joining them as a reserve driver, and we'll see whether he gets his chance later on this season. Arrows, headed up by myself, Topher Smith, will field Oliver Rowland and Felix Rosenqvist, the Swedish driver making his debut here in the Grand Prix World Series. Oliver Rowland, one podium to his name, but a lot of front running while he's had stints at Super Aguri in the past. And Maximilian Günther, Formula E race winner, he will be there in the team as well as a reserve driver. HRT, another team with an all-new driver lineup, 2 rookies in Scott McLaughlin and Alexander Sims, John Munro, hoping to get some decent results on the board with these 2 highly successful drivers here. And this is one of the more left-field driver choices that we've had during the driver draft. Christopher Bell, NASCAR driver, will be the reserve driver here. I don't think anyone was really expecting a NASCAR driver to be picked, but he is a racing driver, he is eligible, and John Munro ready and willing to give him a go this season. Could he spring a surprise here this season? Should he get a go in the seats? That'll be interesting to see later on. Prost, headed up by our commentator Tom Cairns. This is a statement of intent with this team here. Sebastian Buemi, 3-time race winner, and Jean-Eric Verne, 4 times a race winner, and our Season 1 Drivers' Champion. This could well and truly be the dark horse of the championship. A lot of experience, a lot of success there in that driver lineup, with Marco Wittmann still staying with the Prost team but dropped down to the reserve driver role. I think this is one team that we need to look out for this season. Ryan Ferris has given Onyx Grand Prix an all-rookie driver lineup as Liam Lawson and Jules Gounon will make their debuts in the Grand Prix World Series, with Belgian driver Dries Van Tor making his first berth as well, but as a reserve driver. He might get a chance later on in the season, depending on whether Lawson and Gounon can behave themselves on track. BAR, headed up by Will Knight, takes on Nicholas Latifi for a second season, and he is joined by the returning Mahavir Raghunathan. This might not seem like the most exciting driver lineup, but Will is going all on power, so reliability of course will be a factor, but with the team going all on power in their pre-season upgrades, they could potentially be up there at the sharp end, depending on how well the drivers can handle the cars. We'll keep an eye on the BAR team there. Mascar Lola, one of our promotees from League 2, the vice champions of League 2, headed up by Marcus Johansson. Mick Schumacher and Roman Grosjean will be the 2 drivers there today, both race winners, and a team that could spring a few surprises here and there should Marcus Johansson be able to continue his form from last season. Daniel Kvyat will be the reserve driver for this one. He's been out of the race seat for a while now, and he'll be hoping to find a way back onto the grid if he can. Force India became race winners at the last race of Season 3 at the hands of Raffaele Marcello, who this season will be joined by Antonio Fix da Costa, 6-time race winner, one of the most successful drivers in the Grand Prix World Series, and Ed Spencer, I know, is hugely satisfied with this driver lineup for this season. The question will be, can he develop the car well enough throughout the season to give them race-winning machinery? We'll see how the season pans out for him. With Jack Aitken in reserve, no wins for the British driver, but podiums for him. I've been able to convince Ed Spencer to give him the reserve role for the upcoming season. And finally, on the League One grid, Pacific Grand Prix didn't finish in the top 3 last season and get the promotion automatically, but the dropping out of Super Aguri from League One and from the grid entirely meant that Pacific Grand Prix were given a bye into League One, and Kevin McMullen is hoping to make the most of that chance and get top honours this season. Brendan Hartley, the season 1 vice champion, 4 times the race winner, will be heading up the outfit alongside Pietro Fittipaldi, the Brazilian who makes his first full season this time around. Sergio Sette dropped down to reserve driver role. Will he find a way back into a full-time seat, I wonder? Well, we've already gone through all the admin of how this season is going to go, so we'll get straight down to the qualifying results for the League One race and get straight down to trackside. And Scott Dixon has picked up where he left off from last season. He takes his first pole position for Minardi in the first round of the season by over a tenth of a second to Scott McLaughlin in the HRT. A brilliant debut there for the Kiwi driver. Felix Rosenqvist also on his debut will be third in the Arrows, ahead of Sebastian Buemi in the Prost. Mahavir Raghunathan putting a great performance using the power of that BAR to be fifth on the grid. But will the engine last in that car? That is a big question surrounding that team. Earl Bamber, another one of our debutants, will be sixth in the Leighton House ahead of Oliver Behrman in the Simtek. Jean-Eric Verne puts 2 Prosts in the top 8 ahead of Sebastian Bourdais in the second Minardi. And Felipe Nasr, the lead for Mittal for this race, will be 10th on the grid. 11th goes to the second BAR of Nicholas Latifi ahead of Oliver Rowland in the Arrows. Joseph Newgarden 13th in Leighton House ahead of the Mastercard Lola pair of Roman Grosjean and Mick Schumacher 14th and 15th for Marcus Johansson's team. Alexander Sims will be 16th in the HRT ahead of Pietro Fittipaldi, Liam Lawson, Kamui Kobayashi and Shane van Gisbergen rounding out the top 20 in the Manor. At the back of the grids, Raffaele Marcello in the Force India ahead of Brendan Hartley. Marcus Ericsson, our League 2 reigning drivers champion, disappointed with 23rd there, ahead of Jose Maria Lopez, Antonio Felix da Costa and Jules Gounon rounding out the grid. And all drivers within 1 second of each other, so any mistakes in qualifying will have been punished. And this is setting us up for an almighty challenge this season for all of our drivers if it is going to be that close and competitive. Well, if the League 2 race was anything to go by, we are in for another exciting round as we look towards the League 1 race, headed up by Scott Dixon on pole ahead of Scott McLaughlin. Who will reach the checkered flag first at the end of this race? There is only one way to find out. Ready and waiting to take you through the action, it's over to Tom Cairns.
The first League One race of the season coming right up. Scott Dixon going for a hat-trick of Grand Prix World Series titles. But who out there can stop him? The 5 lights are coming on. Lights on. Lights off. Dixon leads, although McLaughlin got away better than the Kiwi and is going to go to someone first, I think. But look at Rosenqvist on the inside. He almost like he got through there. And McLaughlin is ahead of Rosenqvist and Dixon. So McLaughlin from second place on the grid is ahead of the Arrows of Felix Rosenqvist. And it's Scott Dixon in third place in his new team of Minardi, with Sebastian Buemi in fourth in the Prost. Mahavir Raghunathan is in fifth place in the BAR. McLaughlin getting off to a good start. Dixon not very good, but we know how well he can recover from there. So McLaughlin leads. Rosenqvist in second. Dixon third. Buemi fourth. And then it's Raghunathan, Bamber, Behrman, Bourdais, Verne and Newgarden. As Rosenqvist dives to the inside, into the left-hander. But he wasn't able to make the move stick there on this occasion. And Raghunathan's got through on Buemi for fourth place in the BAR. Raghunathan on the debut for his new team is racing past for 40. He's doing to fourth place on the opening lap. So McLaughlin is going to come round to complete the first lap in the race. And Dixon dive into the inside of Rosenqvist into the last turn. And he's back through into second place just before the first lap is out. There is Scott McLaughlin in the changed livery of HRT for this season. It's their 2011 livery, in case you ask. He's in P1, with Dixon second for Minardi, and it's Rosenqvist in the Arrows, who have also changed their livery for this season. Rafael Marcello's come into the pits for Force India in their first race in League 1, after promotion from League 2 in Season 3. There's Rosenqvist, who's fallen back into the clutches of Mahafir Raghunathan. BAR are running two different liveries on both of the cars. Raghunathan is running the blue liveried 555 sponsored livery, whilst his teammate Nicholas Latifi is running the white liveried Lucky Strike on his car. Riding well was Rosenqvist. Arrows running their 1999 livery, contested by Pedro De La Rosa and Tora Takagi back then. And we see a problem for Joseph Newgarden in the Leighton House on his debut. And he retires from the race before the second lap is done. And he's the first one out. And Scott Dixon with the new fast lap of the race is behind McLaughlin. And the gearbox failure is the reason for Newgarden pulling out this early in the race. Dixon behind McLaughlin. Is he going to get back into the race lead here? Look at Felipe Nasser in the Fometal. Won convincingly in lead 2 with the team cycle. Marcus Ericsson taking the Drivers' Championship. And now we look at the battle for the lead. Dixon going for it at Sol on McLaughlin. No way through just yet. And Raghunathan is through on Rosenqvist for third place. VAR, to my understanding, have gone all out on power for the opening few rounds in an attempt to ensure that they get bag full of points in the first few races, just to give them a buffer between themselves and others in the relegation fight. They staved off relegation last season at the last race. And Dixon for the move still on McLaughlin, and I think he's going to be doing it this time into turn 1. Dixon back into the lead of the League 1 Jacarepagua Grand Prix, and I think McLaughlin may be pulling off from an issue there. On the exit of the corner, Dixon through, but McLaughlin was almost pulling to the side as they came into turn 2, and there he is, look. Yeah, problem for the HRT. And from being in the race lead to pulling out after 3 laps. The shame there for team manager John Munro. HRT chasing their first win in League 1 since they came up from League 2 in Season 2. But McLaughlin is the next driver to pull out and joins Joseph Newgarden on the sidelines. That allows Mahafir Raghunathan to go up into second place. You watch Sebastian Buemi go for it on the arrows of Felix Rosenqvist. His teammate Jean-Eric Verne is running in his 8th place now, behind Sebastian Bourdais in the Simtech. Drivers coming round towards the end of the lap. I think reliability is going to play a huge part here as we look at Jules Gounod, who is another one of those debutants in the Onyx, just ahead of Marcus Ericsson. The only driver behind those two is the man who's just came into the pits at the end of lap 1, which is Rafael Marcello. We've seen some changes in position from down the field. Raghunathan doing his best to keep up with Dixon. And Buemi attempted to go for a move on Rosenfist, but backfired. Nicholas Latifi, we can see in the white livery BAR, compared to what his teammate Mahavir Raghunathan is running. And we've seen a move from one of the Leighton houses, that's Earl Bamber, going for it on Sebastian Buemi. He wasn't able to get in front that time. No way through just yet for Bamber. Only Leighton House driver left in the race. And you can see Rosenfist in third place ahead of Buemi. Now Bamber is looking for a way through on Buemi. Can't make the move stick. And he's never going to make the move stick because his engine has gone up in smoke. And both of Chris Cavani's cars are going to be out after only 5 laps in the first race of the season. And he just needs to make sure he doesn't become an obstacle to the drivers. Now he's got Felipe Nasr right behind. So Nasr will go through, as will Vern. But a lot of drivers making their way through. I think, yeah, the car's on fire. It's the end of the road for Earl Bamber in his first race in the Grand Prix World Series. And he's got the Manor right behind trying to get through. And that'll be Jose Maria Lopez. And he will not go to the pit lane. There's no point, I don't think, anyway. Bamber makes it 2 Leighton houses out. Sebastian Bourdais coming into the pits early in the race. He must have encountered an issue. And that's allowed Vern to go through up into 6th place. 2 Prosts in the top 6. And Scott Dixon in P1 in the Minardi. Behind him is Mahavir Raghunathan. Kobayashi in 18th position behind the Pacific of Pietro Fittipaldi. And now we watch Brendan Hartley go for a move on Liam Lawson. Place ahead of Buemi. And through the last turn, is Buemi thinking about a move into turn 1. I'm sure that is exactly what he's thinking here. Just pull into the slipstream and pull out before they get to turn 1. There's a chance he'll make his way through, but I don't think he did on this occasion. Oh, in fact, he has done. Buemi is through ahead of Rosenfist into 3rd place. And there's the other HRT. That'll be Alexander Sims getting through on Mick Schumacher. His first League 1 race in the Grand Prix Series. And Raghunathan's not closing in on Dixon, but he's keeping himself in there. It's a long race, so he may as well keep it at it. Doing a very, very good job indeed. See Roman Grosjean in the Mascot Lola with the other arrows of Oliver Rowland. Up the inside goes the Frenchman, but Rowland is able to resist Dixon in the lead still. Buemi now in 3rd place behind Ragunathan. Lap 8 completed. And Ollie Berman in 5th place in the Simtech. Going very, very well. He made a couple of appearances for Super Aguri towards the back end of last season. He's making the most of the opportunity with Simtech so far. Mahavir Ragunathan, former Formula 2 driver in 2019. And Sebastian Bourdais with a new fastest lap. It's towards the back anyway. If he keep hold of that, he would score a championship point. Too much of Ragunathan. Last year he competed in the Italian GT Endurance Championship. Look at Buemi, who's pulling away from Rosenfist. Starting to close in on Ragunathan a little, but he's over 3 seconds behind. And we've got the pit stops to come. 3 drivers out of the race so far. Earl Bamber, Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden pulled out earlier. There's Ragunathan on the back straight behind Dixon. The last time BAR finished on the podium in the Grand Prix World Series was in Season 2. We've just seen a HRT trying to make a move there. Sims on Nazar, but that didn't come off. Going back to my earlier point, the last time BAR finished on the podium would have been in Buenos Aires, Season 2. Ragunathan could be on course to achieve that result, maybe even a win, depending on what happens to Dixon ahead. We saw many times last season the reliability woes of the Minardi. Kobayashi overtaking Fittipaldi. That's good enough to move him to 17th position. One of those two is Antonio Felix da Costa, who's a Force India driver nowadays. Runner-up last season for Minardi. Sims going for it on Nazar. And the move is done this time. So the Brit gets past. Dixon crossing the line. Still in the lead, over 3.5 seconds clear over Ragunathan. It's Buemi, Rosenfist, Berman 5th, and Sean McVern. And another good race for the Prost team, as he was doing so often last season. Buemi tough time of it at Leighton House towards the back end, but did pick up a couple of wins earlier on. Zenzel and Kyalami. Going for it on Nicholas Latifi. This is for 8th position. It's good enough for the Frenchman to get through this time around. First round of pit stop's not too far away. Right on board with Gunnathan again. I wonder what team manager Will Knight will be thinking here. This is what he needs his Indian driver to do. Dixon, 7 times a race winner in the Grand Prix World Series. No driver has won more than what he has won. All of his wins came with Syntec. Both his championships came with Syntec. Now he's a Minardi driver. Syntec and Minardi tie on race wins with 9 each. Dixon taking victory today would move them on to 10. Berman running in 5th. He's got Vern breathing him down. Bringing ahead of Rosenfest. Berman and Vern, 5th and 6th. And Lawson in the Onyx running in 15th on debut. Behind Lawson is Antonio Felix da Costa. Force India competing in their first race in League One. 13 laps down. Over a quarter of the way through the race. Now we look at Fittipaldi, who's just about to be overtaken by Jules Gounon. And is Fittipaldi able to fight back? Not on this occasion. Still concede this time around. Jonathan's pulling away from Buemi. He's not in gap with Dixon. Look at Vern, going for it again on Berman. Don't think he's close enough this time. Just circling behind again. It's Buemi in 3rd position. And Dixon went a little too deep into the last turn. Let's see how much Gunnathan has closed in on him in that sector. It's 3.7, so we only took about a couple of tenths out of him. Sims running in 10th behind Latifi going into turn 1. And that's in through, no problem. Towards the back of the field, I'm looking at Jose Maria Lopez. Manor are running their 2015 livery. Fittipaldi is just meant to be overtaken by Jules Gounon again. Got back through on Gounon. And the Brazilian. Lopez is Ericsson, Bourdais, and Marcello. Sebastian Bourdais, who is now a Minardi driver after 3 seasons with Onyx. P3. On lap 16, so we should be around the realms of pit stops. For 2 stoppers anyway. And Bourdais going for it now on the Fomitel and Marcus Ericsson. And that's the effects of new tyres for Bourdais. I think he came in after 6 laps for with a mechanical issue. Jonathan nearly 5 seconds clear of 3rd place Sebastian Buemi. Buemi in 3rd, ahead of Rosenfist. Rosenfist running a respectable race so far. His teammate Oliver Rowland is outside the top 10. And Matthew Reguilevin hits in from 2nd position. Go towards the back of the pack, but he's done very, very well to get up into the position he was in before he came in. Also in are Oliver Rowland and Alexander Sims. Shane van Gisbergen is making his way to pit road. 4 drivers in the pits at the end of lap 16. Make that 5 because Bourdais pitted again. That allows Buemi go up into 2nd place now in the Prost. There's Rosenfist. Reguilevin's rejoining 15th position. For your information, and he's behind the Pacific of Pietro Fittipaldi. Just get through on him on this lap. Reguilevin has a chance of maybe leapfrogging Dixon. He's going through it into the Sol corner, and Reguilevin wastes no time getting through on the Pacific. Ahead of him is Kamui Kobayashi, who's like another 4 seconds up the road. And it looks like Grosjean's pissing this lap. Who else is coming into the pits at the end of lap 17? Rosenfist though is Verne, still behind Berman. That's now 4th place on the track. So we look at Marcello, trying to get back into the action, but he's got Sebastian Bourdais right behind. And it's going to be 2 on the 4 seat and overtake from the Frenchman on the Italian. The other Force India of Antonio Felix da Costa behind Liam Lawson. And da Costa, is he able to get past the Kiwi? The answer is no. That corner proving to be one where the driver ahead is able to fend off. Dixon comes into the pits now for Minardi. Is Buemi going to go into the race lead? Rosenfist is not. Well, Buemi's into the lead now for Prost, so he goes into the lead. Rosenfist now second. Verne comes into the pits for Prost, as is Felipe Nasr. Brendan Hartley is also in for Pacific. Now, where is Raghunathan? Because has he got in front of Dixon on this occasion? He has not. He's behind Dixon. I think Dixon's got some relatively clean air. There is Raghunathan behind Kobayashi. Won't pass him that. Where he'll decide to go for it. So he needs to get past Kobayashi, and he's got a chance of getting through on Dixon, maybe in the second round of pit stops. And here he is, he's going for it now on Kobayashi. Jonathan goes through, having the race of his career so far. Buemi comes into the pits now for Prost at the end of lap 19. Berman also heads in, as does Rosenqvist. So, are we going to see Nicholas Latifi head the field? I don't think we are, because he's also in, as is Mick Schumacher. So Scott Dixon goes back into the lead, with Raghunathan in second. Kamui Kobayashi staying out in the Simtek. Plenty of drivers in the pit lane. Pietro Fittipaldi is also in, Marcus Ericsson, Liam Lawson. Oh no, Ericsson stayed out there in 5th place. I'm getting mixed up with the drivers because the classification just keeps changing every 10th of a second or so. Buemi's rejoining 4th place. He's still ahead of Verne, and he's still ahead of Rosenqvist. Verne is ahead of Berman now, for your information. He was able to complete an undercut on him. Isn't too far behind Rosenqvist. In fact, he's less than a second behind Rosenqvist, who's now stopped behind his Arrow's teammate Oliver Rowland. Grosjean in P11. Moving in front of Ollie Berman. Also, whether they're aiming for points on their return to League One. Lopez behind. Pietro Fittipaldi has just pitted. Scott Dixon posts a neat fast lap of the race. It's highly unlikely that that is going to be beaten by anyone. Kobayashi pits from 3rd place. That releases Sebastian Buemi. And Rosenqvist making his way through on Marcus Ericsson, the League 2 Drivers' Champion in Season 3. Ericsson holding up Rosenqvist and... So no, that's Rowland. I beg your pardon. Behind Rowland is Jean-Luc Verne. He has already pitted. Rowland and Ericsson have not. He's going for it on Ericsson here. I might be mistaken. I think Rowland may be in front of Verne on merit. Work to do if he's to get back into the position he was in before the pit stops had begun. Fittipaldi ahead of Lopez. Jonathan in 2nd place still. Now we're looking at Verne getting through on Ericsson at the last turn before the pit straight. Sebastian Buemi in 3rd position. Now between Dixon and McGunnathan is 7 seconds. Now Ericsson's holding up Alexander Sims, who's got Ollie Behrman and Roman Grosjean for company. Behrman was able to get back through on Grosjean. Scott Dixon in P1. Vern still chasing Roland. Look at Gounon. He's behind Sebastian Bourdais, who's pitted twice in this one. One Menard is towards the back, the one is dominating proceedings. Ericsson overtaken by Behrman. And we look at Vern making a move on Roland at the end of the start-finish straight. We cut away from it, and Kamui Kobayashi is coming in with a loose wheel. And luckily for him, the pit lane was only just a short distance away from him picking up that issue, and he'll get back into the race from there. Vern got through on Roland at turn 1. He's now into 5th position. 2 Prost in the top 5. As it stands with the positions as they are, Minardi will be leading his championship by 2 points, with Prost second. And we can see Grosjean go for it on Ericsson, but he's been hit by Nicholas Latifi, and that's the rear wing gone on the Mastercard Lola. Well, Grosjean went for the move on Ericsson at the end of the back straight. It looked like the move had been done. It's a bit 50-50, I would say. We'll see what the stewards say on that particular one, as Grosjean stays out of the way of drivers coming through. He is without a rear wing after all. And Nicholas Latifi has been given a 30-second time penalty and a back of the grid drop for the next race in Buenos Aires. And Vern runs wide. Almost looked like he was about to go off there, and that's allowed Roland to come back in to the fight with him. Grosjean will come into the pits for a new rear wing at the end of the lap. Around the point where we'll see the one-stoppers, if there are any, of course. Well, Grosjean's coming in for a new rear wing. His teammate Mick Schumacher is running in 12th place behind Felipe Nasr. He's one of the home heroes today. Behrman in 8th behind Alexander Sims. Rafael Marcello coming in for his second stop of the race. Just 3 retirements so far. Earl Bamber, Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden are the drivers out. And we watch Latifi get through on Ericsson and Schumacher getting through on Nasr. From Mattel's first race in League One. Hasn't been the most promising, but at least they've got one of their cars in the top 10. I don't think Ericsson has stopped in this race yet. You can see Mick Schumacher behind Ericsson, who will be coming into the pits at the end of the lap for his first and only stop. Look at Bourdais. He's running in 16th position now in the Minardi after pitting twice. Ericsson decide to do? Well, he's ahead of Grosjean in 20th position. So Bourdais in 16th. Almost going too deep. Regunathan in second place, nearly 10 seconds behind Dixon, but he'll take where he is at. A remarkable performance from the Indian. And Sebastian Buemi will be happy with the podium on his cross debut. Felix Rosenqvist, the highest of the debutants at the moment. At Liam Lawson in the Onyx, and through on Shane van Gisbergen. That's enough for Lawson to go through. Around the left-hander of Sol. Giro has just gone through, now Marat. Goa. The last two corners being Box and Vittoria. You can see Schumacher and Nazar tussling over 10th position. And that's an extra point for the race leader, it's Scott Dixon! On his Minardi debut, he's not going to be kick-starting the championship with a race win. Disappointment for team manager Giacomo Pagliaro on lap 27. Scott Dixon retires from the League One Jacarepagua Grand Prix and into the lead, mark my words, Mahefir Raghunathan in the BAR. Dixon pulls off, and that's his race over. And Raghunathan, in fact, Raghunathan's off. What's happened to Raghunathan? He's gone off the track as the Indian. Is he out? Well, he's hit the barrier. That is a shocking place to go off at. Now, is he able to get back onto the circuit? He's been overtaken by Sebastian Buemi and Felix Rosenqvist. And he's stuck in the gravel trap. And it looks like he's going to have to wait for the whole field to go through. Out of the points goes Mahefir Raghunathan. He should have been in the race lead. This is awful. The top two in the race involved in their own melodies. Dixon's out. Raghunathan rejoins the race in 18th position. And into the lead goes Sebastian Buemi in the Prost. Felix Rosenqvist is second. Jean-Luc Verne is third in the second Prost. Well, it's opened the race up more or less, hasn't it? Roland's now fourth in the second Arrows. Ollie Berman fifth. There's Alexander Sims, Nicholas Latifi, Mick Schumacher, Felipe Nasr, and Brendan Hartley in the top 10. Arrows of Ollie Roland ahead of Ollie Berman. And look at Verne coming through the Sol corner. And Nazar behind Schumacher in the fight for 8th place. couple of laps ago, it would have been the battle for 10th place before Dixon and Rigonathan had their own melodies. There's Buemi locking up. And he's now just under 4 seconds clear of Felix Rosenqvist. Are Prost going to take their first win since the Fuji Grand Prix in Season 1? That'd be a brilliant way to kickstart the season. Buemi took victory for BAR in Season 2 at Imola. Took a couple of victories for Lanehouse in Season 3 in Sentil and Kyalami. He's going to win. Is he going to win the opening race of the season in Jacarepagua? Berman's got through on Roland, and Sims is trying to do the same on the Arrows pilot, but the move hasn't come off, and so he waits back. Brilliant race so far for Prost and for Arrows. Not only will Prost be leading the championship as it stands in both the drivers and the teams championship, also picking up their first win. 35 races without a win for the Prost team. And Sims on the inside there of Roland. Very nearly contact, but got away with it. There's Vern in third place. Season 1 champion, kickstarting Season 4 with the podium. Over 6 seconds behind Rosenqvist. Look at Nazar. To come back through. For Mattel on course for points in their first race in League 1. Brendan Hartley for Pacific in 10th. Looking good for a point as well. And there's Buemi. 4 seconds clear of Rosenqvist. We've only lost 4 drivers in this race. Scott Dixon, Earl Bamber, Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden. We've got 17 laps to go. 13 drivers didn't finish in the League 2 race. Alexander Sims still trying to get through on Roland, but now he's falling back into the clutches of Nicholas Latifi. He's carrying a 30-second time penalty, remember, for running into Roman Grosjean and ripping off his rear wing. And he wants to make up for it by passing Alexander Sims here, and he's done it this time around. Pietro Fittipaldi. He's behind the Onyx of Jules Gounon. Gounon doing his best, but Fittipaldi seems to have the upper hand on him on this lap. Rosenqvist comes into the pits for his second stop from P2. He's going to come out in some traffic, I'd have thought. Jonathan running in 18th position after that spin. Felipe Nasr, Mick Schumacher have come into the pits. Lawson's done the same. Cross 1 and 2 now for the time being. And Rosenqvist has rejoined in P11 behind Sebastian Bourdais. And Bourdais going to the end of the race. You can see Sims trying to get through on Roland after Latifi got by the Brit. Now Latifi's got some clear track for the time being before he catches up to Behrman. Is Ollie Behrman in the Simtek behind Jean-Eric Verne. Buemi and Verne remaining out there. Lawson in the Onyx getting through on Marcus Ericsson for 18th. Jonathan pitted as well. There's no chance of him scoring points from where he is at. Sims and Roland pit, as does DaCosta. Buemi won't want to stay out for too much longer because Rosenqvist will be on the fresher tyres. Stuck behind Bourdais still is Rosenqvist, and this is not going to help his race. His bid to catch Buemi. Ahead of these two is Jose Maria Lopez in the Munner, who've had little to show in this one. I think Rosenqvist is going to get through on Bourdais this time around. He's up the inside, but will Bourdais keep his nose in there? No, he won't. The move is done, and Rosenqvist is through into 7th position, and just to correct myself, it's Shane van Gisbergen in the manner ahead of him, not Jose Maria Lopez. Buemi's come into the pits now though, from the race lead. That allows Jean-Eric Verne to go through into the lead for now. Brendan Hartley comes in for Pacific. A respectable race, and Buemi has done his stop. He is ahead of Rosenqvist. I'm just waiting for the gap to say updates. How far is he ahead of Van Gisbergen, I wonder? He's considerably ahead. He's run about 5 seconds clear of Shane van Gisbergen, means he's well clear of Rosenqvist. You can see he's stuck behind the Manor. This might even help Jean-Eric Verne, you know. And Rosenqvist is still stuck behind. I mean, Verne won't get ahead of Rosenqvist because of the laps that Rosenqvist has been putting in. But with Verne staying out there, he'll be on fresher tyres to Rosenqvist. He can close in on him in the closing laps of this race. And there is Schumacher behind Roland in the fight for 8th. Roland has done his last stop. Schumacher and Grosjean are behind. Verne and... who was it that was behind in there? Ollie Behrman, that it was. They've both come in from 1st and 2nd places. Well, Latifi is also in. So we should see Buemi in the lead now and Rosenqvist in 2nd. Verne will rejoin in 3rd position, presumably. There he is, look. He just gets out in front of Lopez, does he? Well, I can tell you that one driver is slowing on the pit straight. And that is Mick Schumacher. He's out in his first race in League One. It's a shame there for team manager Marcus Johansson. I had hoped for better. Grosjean is still in the race. Albeit he's outside the top 15 at the moment as we speak, but I think that's just because he's... well, he had that damage, didn't he, after Latifi ran into him. So I want to see if Fern does get in front of Lopez, because it's important for his race to ensure he doesn't get stuck behind traffic, as we look at Mick Schumacher's car being craned away, and we're actually going to see the car being craned over the pit straight, which is not ideal to see. But we won't need to worry about the yellow flags now because they're gone. There's Lopez ahead of Fern. Fern is getting frustrated behind. He needs to get through because he's got Roland breathing him down. In fact, doesn't need to overtake him anymore because Lopez has come into the pits. That's hurt Vern. They were fighting for position. There was no blue flags involved. And that might give Roland the chance to go up into third place. In fact, Behrman has got through on Roland. He's now ahead of the Arrows pilot. And that will give Vern the chance to pull away. Lopez rejoins in 17th position. Prost are on course for their first win in 36 races. Latifi up the inside of Roland for 5th place. As it stands with the time penalty, he'll drop well out of the top 15. That's how close the field has been today in the first race of the campaign. Is over 7 seconds as we watch Grosjean make a move on Lopez. Lopez only just pitted. Grosjean is determined to get past, and he's done so. We look at Bourdais, who's now through on Ericsson, because Ericsson has had a spin. I don't think any contact was made between the pair of them. Bourdais got through, and Ericsson just went for a 360 before rejoining. We watched Gounon get through, and he's doing to 13th place. Ericsson down to 14th now. Fittipaldi up the inside of Ericsson into turn 1. The way things are going, Sebastian Buemi will become the first driver in Grand Prix World Series history to win for 3 different teams. There's Alexander Sims going for it on Oliver Roland. Won't get through this time around. He wasn't properly alongside. Going into the corner. He's through nevertheless. Rosenqvist running in second. He'll take this on his debut. What a fine start to the season it will be for team manager Topher Smith. Rosenqvist second. Roland is 6th provisionally, but with Latifi's time penalty that'll promote him up to 5th. Prost are also going to lead the teams and drivers championships for the first time in their history. At Sims, who cannot make his way through on Roland. Brendan Hartley is 8th, Lawson 9th, DaCosta 10th. And Sebastian Bourdais, should he stay there, will be promoted up into the points, which will be something for team manager Jacarepagua to take in what really should have been a race win for him. Before Scott Dixon pulled out with engine failure. been a decent round in both of the races in the Grand Prix World Series, and there is plenty more to come throughout the campaign. Finally crossing over the line to begin lap 39. Just 9 laps to go here in Jacarepagua. Now we watch Da Costa get through on Lawson, because Lawson is carrying a problem, and that has forced him into the pits. And the consolation for Lawson is that he might be able to go for a fastest lap. So that'll be him out of the points. Board day will go up. And one driver who could be collecting a championship point after all is Shane van Gisbergen on his debut. A highly regarded driver, V8 Supercars legend. And we look at the battle for third place, because Ollie Berman, he's eager to get onto the podium for the first time by getting through on the Prost of Jean-Luc Vergne. Up the inside into the sole corner. Vergne will hang it out round the outside. He's able to fend him off on this occasion. Brilliant battling between these two. And all this is going to allow Nicholas Latifi to close in. And that's Alexander Sims in the HRT pulling out of the race. He got through on Roland a moment ago, but he's encountered problems shortly after. And both of John Munro's cars are not going to be making it to the checker flag. Alexander Sims retires from the race. That allows Hartley up into 7th place, Da Costa 8th, Bourdais 9th, Van Gisbergen in 10th, and Shulgunon could be moving up into the points with Latifi's penalty. We're looking at Berman up the inside of Vergne this time. Is Vergne able to hold on? Not this time around. Ollie Berman up to 3rd place in the Simtech. No contact was made between the pair. Berman made the move stick this time around. And I think that move was coming for a bit. Look at Rosenfest in 2nd on his Grand Prix World Series debut. And 10 seconds off the lead now from Buemi. Not a lot you can do about him. But Latifi's time penalty will drop him out of the points. We'll want to see how high he can get up as we watch Kobayashi. Never moved on Marcello for 18th position. Sole consolation for the Japanese. Latifi's time penalty will drop into 16th. And Lawson has got back into the race now. He's behind the Force India of Marcello. He feels that a fastest lap is on offer, but hasn't got a lot of time to achieve that. Up the inside of Marcello. The end of the back straight. And he is through no problem. Lawson through into 19th place. And that's Raghunathan off the track. Mechanical problems this time. What could have been the victory has ended up in retirement for the Indian. At least that's saving grace in a way for Will Knight, because had he been leading, it would have been heartbreaking. So Raghunathan retires after a splendid drive up until he had that spin, as Scott Dixon had pulled off to retire. It's the 7th driver to pull out of this race. And Grosjean locking up in front of Ericsson and Lopez. Rosenqvist in P2. Behrman, Verne and Latifi are further back in their own battle. And there is the manner of Jose Maria Lopez and Marcus Ericsson fighting it out. And Lopez wins on this occasion. And the two from Mattels are 15th and 16th. Behrman, Verne and Latifi are continuing on in their own squabble. And Verne feels he can get back through on the Simtek. If he is feeling it. And Nazar going for it on League 2 Drivers' Champion Marcus Ericsson. I want to see the battle between Behrman and Verne. Now, we're right on board with Behrman, but is Verne on the inside of the Brit? He's not on this occasion. Verne doing his utmost. He's got enough time to get back through, but not a lot of time. Latifi's time penalty will drop into 13th. Still got time to build up that gap. Here's your race leader, Sebastian Buemi, on course for the race win. He's 4th in the Grand Prix Series. Five laps away from the end now. Not long to go. Team will be out there on the pit wall celebrating. A first and a fourth is something they would have taken at the start. Now, is Verne feeling that he can get back through on Behrman as they come onto the back straight again? And Verne is not quite into the slipstream as such. He'll pull alongside eventually. But Behrman will have the high ground on the exit, as we've seen many drivers do throughout today. And Behrman stays in front. Rosenqvist in second place behind Buemi. Starts his 44th lap. And there is the Swiss on his own at the front. The first sector. As hard as he can. Every corner of every lap. There's Behrman and Verne. It seems to me like Behrman gets on the power earlier than the Prost. And onto the back straight. Verne is a little closer than before. He's going to pull out alongside is the Frenchman. Is there going to be a change of position here? Behrman stays ahead for now. No problems at the moment. All the drivers left in the race now will be classified as finishers. Seems to be getting more finishes this time around than we predicted. 13 finish in the League 2 race. 19 it will be in League 1 as it stands. Rosenqvist in second place, 13 seconds off the lead. Over to Buemi. Not having to deal with any back markers, just concentrate on the driving in hand. The victory will be closer and closer every lap and every corner he navigates. And Verne still not able to get through on Behrman, but he decides to tuck back into the slipstream of the Simtek driver, maybe go for it into turn 1. That might be the place to do it at. There's Marcello in 19th position, the race winner at the season finale at Laguna Seca in lead 2. He's going to be finishing in last place by the looks of things. At least he's made it to the end. And finishing the race means more prize money. The managers to spend in the upgrade window, which opens after the 3rd round of the championship at Indianapolis. The penultimate lap of the race sees Sebastian Buemi continuing on his way. Latifi's time penalty will drop into 13th behind Romain Grosjean, which will allow Roland, Hartley, Da Costa, Bourdais, Van Gisbergen and Gounon moving up positions. Da Costa and Bourdais are an interesting battle to look at, because Bourdais will want to move up another position for Minardi. Lawson gets through on Ericsson for 16th. With only 2 laps left. We want to have a look at Behrman and Verne. So it doesn't like they are changing positions at the moment, but I can say that Bourdais is going to complete a move on Antonio Felix da Costa. It's been a very decent recovery drive from Sebastian Bourdais to go up into 8th place, which will become 7th by the race end. The final lap has started with Sebastian Buemi putting no foot wrong. But we'll have a look at the battle between Behrman and Verne, because they are very much nose to tail. I think Behrman has remained in front of Verne. And there is the Swiss driver Sebastian Buemi, 5 times Le Mans winner, Formula E champion in 2016, 3 times a Grand Prix World Series winner, the first coming with BAR at Imola in Season 2, the next couple with Leighton House in Season 3 in Zentel and Kyalami. He's going to become the first driver in Grand Prix World Series history to take victory for 3 different teams, the first for Prost, who are about to end their race-winning drought. And what a way to kickstart the season. Sebastian Buemi exits the last corner of Vitoria to head over the line to win the League 1 Jacarepagua Grand Prix. Prost finally can celebrate a race win after a very, very long time. Felix Rosenqvist comes through in 2nd place on his debut. A podium for Arrows, a podium for team manager Topher Smith, and it's going to be a podium for Ollie Behrman on his Simtek debut, holding off Jean-Luc Verne and Nicholas Latifi to the end. It's a 1st and a 4th for Prost. They lead the team's championship after the first race. Ollie Rowland, Brendan Hartley will be classified in 5th and 6th. Sebastian Bourdais 7th, Antonio Felix da Costa 8th. Shane van Gisbergen bags a couple of points on debut in 9th. And Jules Gounon from the back of the field to 10th place and taking the final point. Pietro Fittipaldi and Pietro Fittipaldi misses out on points on home turf. And we've got Romain Grosjean, Jose Maria Lopez, Felipe Nasr, Liam Lawson, Marcus Ericsson, Kamui Kobayashi and Rafael Marciello, the rest of the finishers. Nicholas Latifi classified in 13th after his time penalty. Very sure race winner, Sebastian Buemi for Prost. in Jacarepagua. Felix Rosenqvist coming home in second place ahead of Ollie Berman and Shorik Verne. Oliver Rowland was fifth ahead of Brendan Hartley in Pacific's first race in League One in sixth. Sebastian Bourdais in seventh for Minardi ahead of Antonio Felix da Costa, who bags points for Force India in eighth, Shane Fingersberg in ninth, and Jules Gounon for Onyx in 10th place. Pietro Fittipaldi 11th in the second Pacific, with Romain Grosjean in 12th for Mastercard Lola. Nicolas Latifi, with his time penalty applied, is 13th ahead of Jose Maria Lopez, Felipe Nasser, Liam Lawson, Marcus Ericsson, Kamui Kobayashi, and Rafael Marchiello were the rest of those to finish. Matthew Gunnathan retired after being at the front for so long. Alexander Sims pulling out with transmission failure. Mick Schumacher retiring with a puncture. Scott Dixon out in the lead ahead of Bill and Earl Bamber, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden were the rest of those to not finish. The points for pole position and for fastest lap went to Scott Dixon, but Minardi did not come away with the victory as predicted. That day belongs to Prost and for Sebastian Buemi. They lead the team's championship after round one. Sebastian Buemi leads the drivers' championship. Race 1 done in League 1. It's time to run down on the championship standings, and I'll see you for the next round in Buenos Aires.
So the first League One race win of the season goes the way of Sebastian Buemi and the Prost team. A huge congratulations to them. That's been a long time coming for Tom Cairns' team. They haven't won a race for quite a long time now, so that is a welcome result for them. And much the same as the League 2 race, the League 1 driver standings will have been dictated by the results of today's action. Sebastian Buemi heads up the driver standings on 25 points, ahead of Felix Rosenqvist on 18, and Oliver Behrman, a great result by him today to take his first podium, 15 points for him and the Simtech team. Jean-Eric Verne putting both Prost into the top 4 today gives them a healthy amount of points from the opening round of the season. Oliver Rowland, 5th in the Aeros, takes 10 points ahead of Brendan Hartley, Sebastian Bourdais, Antonio Felix da Costa, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Scott Dixon did not finish the race, but the point for pole and the point for fastest lap gives him 2 and puts him 1 point ahead of the 10th place finisher Jules Gounon in that race. Looking at the team standings, Prost leads the way, having finished first and fourth today, 37 points for them, ahead of Arrows on 28, Simtech on 15, Pacific on 8, Minardi also on 8, Pacific ahead on count back there, Force India on 4, Manor on 2, and Onyx on 1. The rest of the teams yet to score, but plenty of opportunities still to come across the course of the rest of the season. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the first event of Season 4 of the Grand Prix World Series in the books. A huge congratulations to Nick de Vries and Sebastian Buemi for taking victories today. The next round will be at the Argentinian circuit of Buenos Aires, one that has already been on the calendar a few times now. We've seen plenty of action around that circuit, and we're set for another thriller when we head to the Argentinian capital. Until then, I've been Topher Smith. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we can't wait to bring you the next round. Until then, take care.